So the POCSO Act is in news, and the reason for that is there have been a series of arrests. Have been made in the under the POCSO Act. Even yesterday another arrest was made under the POCSO Act. So now what is the POCSO Act? It is the protection of children. Okay, so it is specifically for children. Protection of children from sexual offences Act 2012. So this is your POCSO Act, that is Prevention of Children from Sexual Offences Act 2012. Now under this act, who are considered as children? Any person below 18 years of age is considered to be a child. You know, under certain acts the definition of a child would be different, so that is why this is also important to be remembered, that under POCSO Act any person below the age of 18 years is considered as a child. Now India came up with this act in 2012, of course. One of the possible reasons, of course, India wanted to, at the same time, India has also ratified a United Nations resolution in 1992, and that consists of a similar provision and wants the countries to have a similar provision. So what was that? Write that down. A United Nations Convention on Rights of the Child. United Nations Convention on Rights of Child in 1992. So India has ratified this. India has ratified this particular convention, and to further this convention and of course to deal with such a heinous thing, India has come up with the POCSO Act in 2012. Now, what is the objective of this act? The objective is pretty straightforward, to address. The objective is to address the sexual exploitation and sexual abuse of children. Okay, sexual exploitation as well as sexual abuse of the children is the objective. And who is a child we have also defined. Now let us come on to the features of this act. Let us see what are the features of this act. So this particular act, a very amazing thing about this act, that this act is gender neutral. Right? It is gender neutral, meaning that and also when we defined the child, it was any person. It was not a girl child aged below 18 or a male child aged below 18 or a transgender aged below 18, nothing like that. It is gender neutral. That means it understands the fact that any child, be it a male or a female, it understands that any child can face sexual exploitation and abuse. So this sexual exploitation and abuse, it is not gender specific. Since this is not gender specific, that is why the law of POCSO Act also should not be gender specific and should be gender neutral. So that is one of the feature of the POCSO Act, that this act is gender neutral. Second, another feature if we talk about, there is ease of reporting. ease of reporting. You can report as an individual, you can report even as an organization. At the same time, a very interesting feature of this particular act is the fact that if not reported, it will be considered as an offense. What does this mean? See, understand that be it domestic violence, for example, in domestic violence, what happens if you are seeing that your neighbor is subject to domestic violence, you can report on behalf of them as well, right? That is fine. If you don't report, fine, you are not reporting, right? Here in under POCSO Act, when there is a sexual assault, sexual exploitation, sexual abuse of a child, and you know about it, it becomes your responsibility. It becomes obligatory on you to report, because under this act, if you do not report, it is considered as an offense. And non-reporting of this was a big issue. Non-reporting in general of the rape cases is also even of domestic violence cases, right? This is there's a high number which goes unreported. So that's a big issue. That's a big challenge. Right, the same challenge is here as well. So under this act, non-reporting has been made an offense. This will actually help to increase the percentage of reporting that is happening. What else has been added as a feature? A very important thing is the explicit definition and details. So whenever a sexual abuse, sexual assault, sexual exploitation is happening, or a rape of a minor is happening, the definition, the description or the details are very explicit. Earlier the laws may have sentences which would be very subjective sentences like let's say related to the modesty of the woman. If I give you an exact, it is outraging the modesty of a woman. Now this is very subjective, outraging the modesty of a woman, right? And it can have slightest of the thing can also of course lead to outraging, as well as the heinous of the heinous crime can also lead to outraging the modesty of a woman. So it was a very simplistic approach that was taken, as well as a very subjective approach that was taken. It was not objective. When you talk about outraging the modesty of a woman, to what extent, to what degree, how, what, in this scenario, then giving a severe punishment, how you will give it, people may trivialize it. At the same time, it is not clearly defined, it is not objective and it is subjective. Now that has changed with the POCSO Act. Under the POCSO Act, they have made the definition very explicit and in detail. Alright, so these are the features of the POCSO Act. Now, under this POCSO Act, under this POCSO Act 2012, the government have also come up with the POCSO Rules 2020, right? So under this act, remember the years, they can confuse you in option if they want to be very specific with the year. Generally they are not, but still. Under POCSO Act 2012, there are POCSO Rules 2020. So let us see what all are the provisions under the POCSO Rules 2020. One very important thing over here is interim relief or interim compensation. Interim compensation and special relief. Now understand the importance of this. So what happens is, the complaint, let's say, has been filed, alright, but the case is going on, the matter is sub judice. Since the matter is sub judice, there is no judgment that has come out, so no compensation and all is there. And if the matter stretches For so long there is no support, no compensation, and now that is an issue, right? That is why under POCSO rules 2020 there is a provision of interim compensation and special relief. So interim compensation would be provided to the victim even when the case is going on. Special relief would be provided to the victim with respect to food, clothing, shelter, all those things will also be provided to the victim as an interim provision itself, even when there is no judgment taken yet. Now, how do you get this thing? This compensation and special relief would be provided from certain funds. The fund from juvenile, under Juvenile Justice Act, there is a fund. So, Juvenile Justice Act fund, through that, plus District Legal Service Authority, that is your DLSA, plus also from District Child Protection Unit, that is DCPU, that is your District Child Protection Unit. So via these organizations or this particular act, from these funds, the funds under these organizations and this act would be utilized in order to provide the interim relief to the victim, as well as the interim compensation to the victim, as well as the special relief to the victim. Now, at the same time, another feature is there is a support person provided to the victim, support person. So court hearings would be there, all those things will happen. So of course there can be relatives, friends and all that, but from a legal side also a support person from will be provided to that particular person in order to act as an intermediary, to act as a shield between the prosecution, the questioning and everything that is happening. This support person will be will act as a shield and a protector for the victim. Okay, now what are the issues that are happening? Let's understand what are the issues that are happening. So as far as issues are concerned, we saw that support person would be provided, but the problem is percentage of women in police force is very less. So if you are providing a support, you have a female victim, you want to provide a support person who is a female police officer, that is an issue because the percentage of women in police force is quite less, right? So that is one of the issues. The other issue is when there is an examination or statement is done, it needs to be done in the presence of the district magistrate. Now that does not happen generally. The judicial magistrate is generally not present when you talk about taking the statement, examination, all those things. That is a problem. Also, there is no provision. There is one major important thing is that there is no provision of or sorry, not no provision, but you can say that there is an issue in determination of age. There can be at times issue in the determination of age as well. Also, it has been found that there are lapses in investigation. There are lapses in investigation. When there is issue in determination of age, when there is no presence of district magistrate during the examination or during the, let's say, giving charge sheets and all that are filed, then when charge sheets are filed, there needs to be a proper examination. That examination needs to be happened in the presence of district magistrate, which does not generally happen. And if there is an issue in the determination of age, and if there are lapses in investigation, when you club all these things, what will happen? The percentage conviction will go down. And that is the issue which is being faced. The conviction percentage may go down, and we don't want the percentage conviction to go down, right? We want it to improve, increase. So better thing would be the presence of district magistrate should be there. That should be the solution. At the same time, provision for determination of age and proper investigation should be done. You can also link this investigation thing with respect to the Prakash Singh case of 2006, which talked about separate units to deal with criminals, to let's say discuss with the public. Now what happens in police force? The same police officer is dealing with the criminals as well as when the citizens, non-criminal citizens, when we are going to the police station. So it becomes difficult for them also to be, completely switch off and then be very polite and humble and then deal with the criminals and be very rigid and strong and all that. It becomes difficult. So the Prakash Singh case talked about two different units, one for citizens, one for criminals. At the same time, it talked about focus on investigation and investigation technique, improving, enhancing this in order to increase the conviction rate, in order to close the cases faster and efficiently. Okay, so this is all about your POCSO Act, the provisions, the issues, the solution, and what are the features, what are the objectives of the POCSO